Good afternoon. This is the Delaware County Interactive Gaming Revenue Authority meeting for March 21st, 2024. We're starting at about 2:01 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Please join me and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. At this time, I'll ask our Secretary, Ron Evans, for a roll call.
Well, see, Andrew's here, I'm here, Paul's here, Francis is here, and our solicitor Frank Daly's here. And I assume Vince is excused today?
He should be joining us via Zoom shortly.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All of you should have received the agenda, I believe, on Tuesday, the final agenda on Tuesday or Monday. Do I have a motion to, and the agenda was also posted on our website on Tuesday as well, while within the required time for public posting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments about the agenda? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. At this time, I will open it up to the public here in our meeting room as well as online for any public comment concerning the agenda.
We're not taking public comment.
Okay. All right. Seeing none, we will proceed. At this time, we will have a guest presentation by Edward T. Coleman, Executive Director of Community Action Agency of Delaware County.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for the invitation to be here, and more importantly, thank you for the funding that you provided to fill a critical gap with our volunteer income tax assistance program, commonly known as VITA. If I can approach, I'd like to just hand out what I'll be reviewing. Sure. For each of you. Easier.
Thank you.
You're welcome. For those of you who don't know us, Community Action Agency is a private nonprofit corporation. We were incorporated in 1979, so we're in our 45th year. I won't go through the information that's in there. You could take a look at that if you're leisure, if you'd like. But we're pleased to be here to talk about the VITA program. In terms of VITA, we've been doing VITA returns since 2007. We've done 12,000 returns over those 17 years. We've grown from having one site to 5 sites, and we do an average of 8 to 1,000 returns each year, utilizing volunteers from local colleges, community volunteers, of which we have a core group that come back each year. There's no fees to the taxpayers to have their returns prepared. And we also do, it's not recorded to the federal government, we also do state tax returns and also rent rebates for seniors. So it's kind of a multi-purpose visit when people come to see us. And it's kind of with a lot, especially seniors, it's kind of got to be like a social event. They come back and ask for the same volunteers and talk about what's going on in their life. So it's also a way for them to get out and to learn what's going on. And in addition to this, we've established a year-round financial literacy program. So the idea there is to provide financial literacy to people who may not otherwise have those skills, and for when they get their tax returns to be able to sit down with them and talk about what would be the best use of their returns. Obviously, it's easy to just spend it, but a lot of times it's better to retire debt or to pay for a car payment or what have you. So it's kind of, and we do that year round. So it's kind of a year round financial literacy initiative. This year has started off very successfully. To date, we've completed 600 returns. So we're on target to do the number that we had and try to get to 800 to 1,000 returns. We'll definitely do over 800, closer to 1,000. The average refund amount is $1,515. And I'm going to ask Sharon Grasty, our Chief Program Officer, to talk a little bit about why that is, because a lot of the returns are a lot higher than that. We do earned income tax credit. We did 120 of those. The average earned income tax credit was $2,406. 73 child tax credits, averaging $1,144. And the total amount of refunds so far is $844. We have 31 IRS certified volunteers that work with us to administer this program throughout the year. And we have 6 site coordinators that are basically temporary employees. We're required to have at each site a site coordinator to work with the volunteers. The volunteers cannot be on a site unless there's a site coordinator present. The returns, as you'll see, are throughout the county. We currently have 4 locations this year. Our Boothwyn office, which is our agency headquarters, Widener University, J. Lewis Crozier Library in the city of Chester, and our Darby office. We are looking at kind of a change in the demographics of the percentage of people that are coming to us. Increasingly, it's senior citizens. Right now, about 60% of the people coming to us are senior citizens, which is higher than it's been in the past. And I'm going to ask Sharon if she would come forward to just talk a little bit about why how the demographics has changed and what people are doing with their returns. They're different than it had been in the past.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Thank you
afternoon.
again for inviting us here. As Ed stated, over the years, I go back close to 40 years with Community Action Agency and actually used to do the VITA program. But back in the day, the online programs available for tax returns were not available. Now we have Tax Act, which is free. We have TurboTax, which is no more than about $80 for the basic return. And so a lot of our consumers now are doing it on their own, especially those that are getting the child and earned income tax credit, because if you're getting $8,000 to $10,000, they're not worried about losing $800 to $300. So they're moving quicker and they're doing it themselves online. But as we all are aware, there's a challenge for the seniors that aren't able, that don't have the same computer technology. And so that's why that's increasing. So we did so far 365 of our consumers were seniors. That's 60% of what has come in. And what we've seen going forward is we're still getting even more seniors. So because they're the ones, again, I think it's wonderful that they get out and they've got the support that we're receiving, and it just sort of becomes a fun time for them. As I go downstairs and I watch the VITA preparers set everything up and work with our consumers. What we've noted is that this year, 394 of our consumers were singles. And 99 were heads of households. So that right there is reflecting that we're bringing in more single and seniors that are requiring our support. And I think that's a wonderful thing that we are available to support our seniors. And we're doing those state and those federal returns, and specifically the state returns, to support with the rent and property rebate that they're all eligible for. Just to give you an idea, our average adjusted gross income was $28,128. And of the total returns, we did have total balance due in the amount for 84 of the 600 consumers owed money to the tune of $69,223. And that sometimes was because we had individuals that came in that we can do multiple years. As long as the individuals that we have, our site coordinators, are certified for the last 3 years, they can do 3 years. And we have individuals that just didn't set up themselves appropriately with their taxes coming out of their Social Security or other things, and with their pensions, allowing them to owe more money. But so our goal is we educate also as we're doing the tax returns to help them as they go forward so they won't owe us much money. Any questions?
So, how are seniors finding out about you?
Well, first of all, we do a comprehensive PR effort on our website with mailing lists to all the organizations in the county, the state representative's office. A lot of the seniors that are coming to us have been coming to us for years, but every year we see more and more. And what Sharon mentioned with the other population, if they're willing to go to a paid tax preparer and pay the $300 or the $200 and get their money immediately, as opposed to coming to us, make an appointment, coming to us, and then having to wait for it to get processed. So well, we have kind of whatever we do, a community action, kind of a comprehensive outreach effort for all of our services, and VITA falls into the same category.
So how do you coordinate with the 4 sites where you're located? How do you coordinate with the other Vita sites in the county, like the one that, let's clarify, I'm not sure who runs it, at Senator Carney's office? Like if I go to one and it's closed, or, how do you, if somebody calls and makes an appointment and they're not available at yours, do you refer them to the other one? Like, how do you
Yes.
coordinate?
We do. We have had the capacity to do whoever comes to us. We don't have a problem doing that. So, and ours are by appointment, so there would be no duplication, but and they know of us also. So,
And third location was the one in Sharon Hill, and we coordinated very closely with that.
Oh, with the neighbor to neighbor
Neighbor
group.
to neighbor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna ask, Bransky,
Mhm.
you mentioned that part of the impact is from the online capability, especially of those that have that technology or that technical literacy. And I think you mentioned something about $300 or $400. Are you saying that they could potentially get a smaller
Mr. Chair, can you turn your
rebate
microphone
by
on?
using that service?
I think your mic's not on.
Oh,
And Vince has a question as well.
repeat the question?
Repeat the question. Vince also has a question as well.
Okay, all right. So during your presentation, you discussed some of the taxpayers are going to online competition rather than possibly coming to the Vita site because they may have the technical skills or the technical access. And I thought you mentioned like a round figure, like $200 or $300 difference. Was that they could potentially get more of a rebate by meeting with a Vita person?
yes.
And they're missing some things out when they do the online. Is that what you were discussing?
So that when they're using TaxPact, it's free, and so they're not using power. When they're using TurboTax, the program, you do pay for that service, and so it may be $80 for the base. Exactly. So yes, that's a loss of the revenue they would have.
Okay,
But also if they go to a tax preparer, they get the money right while they're there.
right.
So there's kind of that instant gratification, whereas now if somebody goes, our tax returns get paid sooner than your tax returns or our tax returns. The IRS expedites the payment, but it's not immediate. It's expedited, but it's not immediate.
It is within 3 to 5 days.
Okay,
Sometimes it's 5 days.
like going through a Vita site.
I go on
Like going to-
versus
right.
if they're able to electronically send it directly to their account.
Now, the online option, do they provide an option to get paid almost immediately as well, or? Yes,
Through TaxPact, I believe, electronically using the bank accounts. But I couldn't say the TurboTax, it may be a little bit longer.
but is that like a loan like some of these other ones are doing? Is that like a loan like some of the other tax preparers are doing? It's a loan against your tax return?
Mhm.
Okay. And I also see that there are you said you have 4 sites, but you mentioned 6 site coordinators. Is that because there's expanded hours at the different sites?
Weekends and evenings and
Okay.
daytime, yes.
So generally, like what are the hours of operations for the sites?
So at the Booth Win site, we're doing 4 days on the weekend. Normally from 10 to 6. And then we do the weekend. They do about 5 hours. And then at the Soldier Library, it's every Saturday, and they're doing from 9 to 2. And at Widener, it's 3 days a week. But they have to be out by 5 o'clock. And then we have the Darby office, we do it every Saturday. At 9.
And if somebody can't make one of those times, we stay later, schedule somebody else on a Saturday. So we try to be as accommodating as possible. But generally those hours fit into people's schedules.
Right. And it looks like Booth Wind is the location that, I guess I would say is west of the Blue Route for the county.
Yes, we're the last exit off of 95 before you get to the state of Delaware, but it's right near 452 and 322. So it's really readily accessible by vehicle, and it's also right on the bus route.
Are you considering any pop-ups either in the other western parts of the county or in Upper Darby where we have about 85,000 residents?
Yes, Upper Darby is one of those that we've been working with.
I mean, are you considering a pop-up site just for?
We have
We're doing a pop-up site in our Upper Darby office,
Oh, okay.
located, On Westchester Pike.
Westchester Pike.
Got the address.
Okay, all
So we-
right. So these are
but
the
that's what we
standing
were looking at.
sites.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, we're available by appointment. If somebody calls to have the staff go to Upper Darby, take the applications at our satellite office in Upper Darby.
They're in this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And any questions from me?
And we're doing
So,
pop-ups at our shelter sites.
True.
And we did one other pop-ups.
We have 3 emergency shelters in Delaware County. We use them as a pop-up site to help those people.
and what is the potential for the funding that you need from the IRS in 2025? Because
Well-
I understand that there was
Yeah, it's been consistently funded for 16 out of the 17 years. We have a very good rapport with the IRS monitors that come in and manage what we do. This year, they had a separate part of the IRS to do a rating system. It was kind of arbitrary, and the people that we work with try to advocate, but they had some kind of scoring process. And so we've talked to them about this and basically have told them that, this by no means that we're going to be able to do this again. We're not going to be able to go back and ask people for money. This was a one-time emergency request. So they're aware of that, and they're aware that we're the major provider in Delaware County. Hopefully they don't want to see a gap in service. So we're optimistic that they're going to consider coming back. Not to mention, we've talked to them a little bit about what they're looking for. So I think we know a little bit better, what to expect in their process.
Okay.
So,
And does this program end on the I think tax day is the 15th. I'm not sure if it changed this year. Does it end on that day or is it after that?
it's ongoing, where it's year round.
Okay.
If somebody comes in after the due date, it's,
Vincent's a question, right?
Is he online?
Yeah, I'm here. I think actually Paul and Francis sort of asked my questions about the Upper Darby location. I would just strongly encourage you to utilize that office on Westchester Pike. A lot of effort went into creating that office, and there are a lot of underserved folks, seniors and foreign-born residents, et cetera, who could really benefit from the service in the 19082 zip code.
yes, we,
Well, thank you. Go ahead. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your time coming out today.
thank you for assisting us with this gap funding. We appreciate it and appreciate being here today. Thank you.
And you have our email. If there's any type of promotional materials you want to send to us, and we may be able to promote this through our personal networks and
Sure,
things like
we'll be sure to do that.
that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, everyone. All right, at this time, we have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 2024 DeSigra meeting. You should have all received the minutes of the meeting from Ron shortly after our meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second? I'll second.
No, I think you can. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Minutes are approved. At this time, I will turn it over to the treasurer for the treasurer's report.
All right, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
All right, so our opening balance for February 1st was $99,746.08. And during that month, we earned interest income of $13.20. We paid out checks that are listed on the financial report in a total of $28,903.80. Our cash balance at I messed up the dates on here and I do apologize. That is supposed to say at the end of February's date, but our cash balance at the end of February's date, which was February 29th this year for the leap year, was $328,646.86. We did receive the cash payment from our quarterly payment in the amount of $257,791.38. And there are currently no outstanding checks. there will be, I do understand, at the end of this meeting. And the bank balance, as you see, as of February, is the same as the balance that I quoted, $328,636.86.
Let me ask a question. The cash balance that says 1/31/2024, that should be.
The goal of is to January. Sort of.
That's correct. Yep, and my apologies for that. I did miss that in the review. I was rushing him, and that was all my fault.
Bank balance as of 24,
Yes,
221.
which one? 229?
well, that date,
Instead of 131, it's 229.
yep, the last
Oh,
backload of, yep,
Yeah, I thought you said 220.
28.
yes, as of 2/8/21.
Okay.
And there wasn't any changes between the 8th and today.
5 checks that cleared 09, 10, 11, 13, and 14. Is 12/12 outstanding or was it voided?
No, neither. 12/12 cleared the month before,
At the end of the month before.
the end of the month. Yep. So if you look at the January's report, you will see that it is on that report.
Super.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you. So I do have one thing to add.
Let me,
Oh,
the motion first.
Okay.
Or, is there a motion to approve the March 2024 Treasurer's Report with the correction to the cash balance of 02/29/2024?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, motion carries. Please continue, Mr. Nelson.
So it is now the proper time to discuss?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go to my email so I don't hear this, but I did send the email to Paul to review, and I just wanted to make sure that I brief this information. So in the process of me doing my work for the Stormwater Authority that I work at my primary job, I was actually researching short-term investments so that way the Stormwater Authority can have some kind of way to store our money for the short term and earn interest on it. And in the process, I did realize that there were short-term treasury bonds that I think could be applicable to us. Now, I do understand that the conventional logic of the SIGRA Authority is that we want to get that cash out as fast as possible. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. But in the interim, while I was waiting, I just wanted to make sure I shared this information to the board. There could be an opportunity with some of these 3 months or 6 months treasury bonds to be able to earn a little bit of interest on that money while it's sitting there unemployed. Just my financial mind understands that it's just good fiscal management. So I wanted to present that information. If you did not get the email, I will re-forward it to you. You can take some time, look through it. And I guess at the next meeting, maybe we can entertain a motion to discuss it a little bit further. And outside of that, I guess that concludes my report.
I'll open it up for discussion now.
So a lot of bank CDs now are paying a comparable rate with much more liquidity. Did you want to come to us with a proposal of some?
I can absolutely do that. And for what it's worth, the treasury bonds are just as liquid as the CDs. That's one of the benefits that is in it. They offer a substantial amount of liquidity.
Well, you had to wait for 3 months for a 3-month treasury in order to realize the full interest amount.
So isn't that the same case with the CDs?
Now, and I'm sorry, I misspoke. CDs, money markets.
Okay, money markets, right.
Money
So yeah, money markets, yeah.
Justice.
If we can find rates that are comparable, I haven't seen any for what it's worth. But if we can find comparable money market rates, then yes, they do offer more liquidity. But the treasury bonds and the CDs are equal liquidity.
It's like 5% or so.
So I think it was like 4.1 if off the top of my head, not quite 5. And I haven't seen any money market that high today.
And so your professional opinion is that
Mr. Chair, can you turn your
yeah.
mic on? Yeah.
Your professional opinion is the short-term treasury bonds could be a viable, secure investment for us to earn some interest versus possibly versus money markets.
Absolutely. And then furthermore, so as far as treasury bonds are concerned specifically, that is one of the financial instruments that the Municipal Authority Acts authorizes us to utilize. I'd have to research more on the money market. I don't believe money market is um issues. I remember distinctly the Municipal Authorities Act mentions about US Treasury bonds.
And we have an account at financial institutions. So if we did explore a money market account, it wouldn't have to be at that financial institution.
Right.
We could explore other ones, but using US Treasury might be a more streamlined option.
Possibly. But yeah, so I'll do the legwork, put together a proposal, send it out ahead of the meeting, and then we can, I guess.
Is there genuine interest in exploring this and possibility of a motion at the next meeting?
Yeah, I'm very interested and I appreciate the suggestion and the research. Absolutely.
And I'm sure you'll look at, we'll remind you of the grants that we kind of set up on the calendar.
Yes,
So you
to make sure
look
we
at
get
cash flow and
absolutely.
make a recommended amount. So we're never short of being able to pay out our grant obligation.
For sure, which is always going to be priority.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or anything else to present?
No, I absolutely. If there's any questions, I'm here. But no, I don't have anything else to present. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
You mentioned an email. I don't remember getting an email.
I did not forward it to everybody,
Oh, okay.
so I could forward it to you. That has all of the list of the treasury items. As a matter of fact, I'll forward it now.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't forward it to everybody because I wasn't sure of the process on what it took to present.
Sure.
So I did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
At this time, I'll open the meeting to the solicitor for the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My chair seems to have fallen down about a foot, so I'm going to stand up if you don't mind. I really have nothing new to report except to remind you that we do have the financial statement of financial interest has to be filed April 30th. I will send after this meeting a copy of that form to everybody. And you can either file it with the county clerk yourself, and I recommend you get a stamped receipt when you do file a copy, or you can send it to me and I will walk it over and file it for you.
And you can accept a scanned copy and submit it, or does it have to be
I think it has to be an ink copy.
Okay.
And if you're going to send it to me by mail, it's send it to my attention, Frank Daly, at Post Office Box 199, Media, PA.
So worse, if they don't get it to you in the mail, they'll see you at the next meeting.
That's right.
Not going to, for both of us.
There is a way to submit online. I did
Oh,
submit
that's what you
online.
did.
So I wanted to bring that up for the benefit of the group.
Okay.
Thank you. I forgot to respond
No
to you on
problem.
that. I was not copied on the treasurer's report. If you could put my name on there, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Actually, my apologies.
No problem.
Any other comments? Any other
I think
comments?
it's a side, isn't it?
Oh,
A
okay.
side thing?
I was looking and I didn't see.
Here it is. It's over,
Left side, okay.
I think.
Any other comments,
There's.
Mr. Solicitor? Okay. Any questions or comments? Thank you.
Like a midget.
All right, at this time, we'll move on to unfinished business. I will provide Mr. Vincent Rangione an opportunity to provide us an update on outsourced services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all the authority members who I've had a chance to speak with about this process and our potential vendors. I did share a spreadsheet that contained some analysis and also some emails that I think provided more context. Just so the public is aware, I mean, we issued an RFP asking folks to respond to any one or all three of three different services, one for web maintenance, one for accounting and back-end support, and one to help create and maintain a unified grant application and evaluation process. We did receive 5 or 6 responses. and some interesting ones, some from national software companies, some from hyper local startup companies, and kind of everything in between. So it was a good group. It was a good group to choose from. They all offered some potential benefits. Ultimately, what seemed to make the most sense for the authority at this stage was to go with actually two vendors. One who responded for the web maintenance and unified grant evaluation and application proposal, and one who responded for backend and accounting support. Those two vendors are Mijan Technologies, which is a minority and youth-owned startup company that develops custom websites and web applications. And they really offered a lot of customization and attention for the authority to build something that I think would be effective and helpful. And Brinker Simpson, who is a well-established regional accounting firm with a lot of experience in the nonprofit sector and the grant reporting and grant requirements. So my analysis was that the two vendors would, since we have no professional staff of our own, obviously we have our solicitor. I don't mean no disrespect to our solicitor, but no standing full-time staff. My feeling was that these proposals were both cost effective, but also would give us the most bandwidth and expertise for our dollars. So I'm happy to take more questions and have more discussion on the topic, but that's sort of the general overview. I conducted 5 interviews with all the companies, reviewed the proposals, went back and forth with some of them on different issues and pricing, and followed up. So it was a pretty robust process in terms of the evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Any questions or comments?
Well, my thinking would be just to go with one. I mean, I looked at the Brinker Simpson proposal and it seems like they were ready to supply us with all the services we're requesting. To me, the main thing is the grant application processing. Seems like it takes up a fair amount of time for us.
Yeah, I think we could. I definitely think going with Brinker Simpson to support the accounting and the back end makes a lot of sense. And they were definitely what they expressed was they would be willing to work with CourseVector and be trained on our website so that they could provide and support the web maintenance portion. When it came to the application and evaluation portion, they were pretty frank about their capabilities. I mean, again, they would be willing to assist us when it comes to kind of creating the spreadsheets and collating the evaluations, but they're not really in a position to create an online application and to create a database that would store applicants so that they could apply year after year without having to enter basic information. So there are certain things that Brinker Simpson, from a technology perspective, is not equipped to handle in terms of the unified grant application piece of the RFP.
So you picture Mijan Technologies as being able to automate the grant processing efforts, present us with like a spreadsheet with everything presented there?
Yeah, I believe they could develop a web-based application that would populate a spreadsheet, and in fact have an admin dashboard that each member of the authority and the solicitor, if need be, could log into the admin dashboard. And when you log in to that admin dashboard, you would see XYZ nonprofit applied on this date, and it would give you the information, their responses to the application. So we could all log in and review the applications in one place in that admin dashboard.
I looked for Mijan Technologies and it came back for the website and it came back not found. So that didn't give me a whole lot of confidence in their capabilities.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that's why I sent the follow-up email this morning with the links to their website and to some of their work. I'm not sure what was happening with the website, but yeah, I was hoping that email would provide people with some further information and confidence. I do think there's a way to go here, which is bring on Brinker Simpson now, start to get the support that we need in terms of supporting the new treasurer, in terms of getting grant award letters and some due diligence done with Brinker Simpson, and allow some more time to vet and review the potential of Mijan to provide the application so that everyone is comfortable, or for someone else to provide the application such that everyone is comfortable. So I think we could. I would be open to the idea of doing it in two steps, if the authority thinks that would be more prudent.
So am I to understand that Brinker Simpson that their understanding is that they're not just going to be doing the financial back office, but they're also going to be sending out grant award letters?
Correct.
Notifying grantees that they're getting a grant with the grant award letter and the payment? Is that their understanding?
Yeah.
So, well, in the agenda for the motion for Mijan, it talks about application services. I mean, I wasn't sure that Brinker would be involved with the grant applications, and you're saying that Mijan will be doing the applications, and then when we've decided, county council approves them, that Brinker Simpson would pick it up from there?
Correct. Well, Brinker Simpson would be essentially sending the check. Right.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I mean, we don't want the technology company involved with the money portion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a motion to select Brinker Simpson to provide additional accounting administrative services effective upon negotiated one-year contract, effective date to be determined. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
And just to make sure that this is the motion for Brinker.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
Any questions or comments?
I just want very specific clarity of exactly what it is that they're going to be doing every month, because I can almost guarantee that they don't think they're developing or sending a grant award letter in agreement with those checks. It's one thing to just mail a check out the door or engage with an electronic transfer, but I'm not sure that that's their understanding. If you think it's their understanding, great, but I think it should be in the contract exactly what it is that they are going to be doing to relieve Paul of his responsibilities.
As the contracts are, I spoke with the solicitor, or I communicated with the solicitor. The contracts have to come back for a vote in April. This is just the start of a negotiation process.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I think it's a very fair point, and I think we should have perfect clarity with the vendor on that. So I appreciate that. I think that makes sense.
Well, I've worked with Brinker in the past for auditing services. They are a consistent auditor. And they usually include either a statement of work or an engagement letter that details. So do we have copies of statements of work?
I think he's going to be negotiating the scope of their activities.
Oh, understood.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Abstain, opposed, abstain? All right, motion carries. Do we have a motion to select Majan Technologies provide website and application services effective upon negotiated one-year contract effective date to be determined?
I'm happy to make that motion.
I'll second it.
Any questions or comments?
Yes. So just to make sure that I understood the summary correct, Vince. So we're approving both of these right now so that they can be negotiated. And then we'll later decide whether we're going to use one or the other or some combination of both.
No,
We
you're agreeing to use them.
we
based on the
will-
contract.
We will vote on the contracts that are presented to us by Vincent and Frank after they do the negotiations. So there could be a contract from one of these two vendors, and if we look at them and they're not approved, then we won't be using that vendor for these services.
Okay,
So
understood.
this is just a start to, there were initial proposals with scopes of work. But we're kind of massaging them, and they're now going back to make sure that they have the right fit.
Understood. Okay.
So Vince is going to be in touch with Course Vector. He's going to be in touch with you to make sure that we have the right fit. And it's not too much, but not too little.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain, one abstention. Do we have 4-0 and one abstention?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if Andrew voted.
So I didn't vote, but it was an aye.
Aye, okay.
Sorry. I was pondering.
That's fine. 4-0, one abstention.
What it's worth, Mr. Chairman, under the rules, believe it or not, the abstention is added to the majority vote. And you're reporting it correctly.
Oh,
Four,
okay.
nothing and one, but under the,
Not an opposed.
Right, okay. Thank you. The next item is a motion to authorize Vincent Rangione and Frank Daly to negotiate annual contract with Vincent Simpson. This is just a little bit more specific motion, not to exceed proposed $1,750 per month or $21,000 annual cost. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Next motion is to authorize Vincent Rangione and Frank Daly to negotiate annual contract with Majan Technologies not to exceed proposed $20,000 annual cost. Do we have that motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain.
One abstain. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any other unfinished business? Moving on to new business. Do we have a motion to authorize the solicitor to place advertisement for Next Generation Grant announcement in the Spirit newspaper on or around April 1st, 2024?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? So this will still be processed manually. I will ask for some help, but I'm gonna try and split it with you.
Okay.
I'll get in touch with you.
Is our spreadsheet thing again?
Yeah, but I know it's a lot, so I'll work with you so we can divvy it up.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. I'm gonna ask, Francis, if you could review, would you mind reviewing the application? And just,
You mean, me?
yeah. RP, the RP and the application. And do you mind looking at the application as well?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. And we want to put it, I believe we wanted to put we're going with 30-day deadline, so it'd be April 30th.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
And
And
I
Mr.
trouble
Bennett.
you to send me
I'll copy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll send you everything.
and I promise to share my proposed ad, and then we can all approve it.
Okay, thank you, Francis.
Yeah, no problem.
Do we have a motion to cancel the $150 monthly support contract with Course Vector to convert to $749 annual update program with Course Vector for desigra.org?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? I'll make a comment. Course Vector reached out. I can't remember if it was via the Course Vector, the secret email or my personal email. But they essentially said that we are overpaying for the services that we're receiving. And they suggested that we could go with a $749 annual update program, and that they essentially would credit us with the amount of money that's in there. So there wouldn't be an outlay of cash for this annual program to start. And it could potentially might go for 2 years with us having to expect any cash for this program. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carried. At this time, I will open the floor to any public comment. Bueller? No, just kidding. At this time, there is no public comment. At this time, I'll open the floor to any authority comments. Anyone from the authority? I want to thank Andrew for being on board and giving us some treasurer's reports and being timely with those.
Thank you.
Also want to thank Vincent for a very extensive review of these vendors and providing us with his perspective and vetting the vendors as well. And look forward to what he and Frank can do in advance of our next meeting. And also thank you to Francis for agreeing to take a look at our next generation grant application and the advertised RFP. We have a great team effort here. Since we don't have any staff, we kind of have to delegate and divide up the work here. So I do appreciate that. Anyone else on the authority have any comments? At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Have a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstain? We're good to go. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Next meeting, April 18th. Are we in this room or?